Hey all, here OS Reviews. Today we're taking a quick look at the KingSmith WalkingPad P1. This is a compact folding treadmill that can fit underneath a standard sofa, even a couch or bed, which solves one of the issues of traditional treadmills being just a little bit too bulky, especially if you're living in an apartment with more limited space. And of course, a treadmill in general allows you to just getting some cardio in, even if it's raining outside, for instance, and you don't have to necessarily head to the gym. Now, this company is actually an ecosystem brand of Xiaomi, more well known for making smartphones, but they also make smart home products, and this is an example of that. As a smart treadmill, it also connects using Bluetooth to a companion app on the phone if you want to track your metrics like distance and control some of the speed settings, serving as an alternative to the included remote, which runs on 2 AAA batteries. We'll take a look at that more in a moment, and other neat features on here include a automatic speed mode. Basically, if your feet is always towards the top of the treadmill, it will speed up automatically, and if you're at the middle zone, it will maintain the current speed, versus if you kind of reach the end, it will automatically slow down. The P1 here is more of a standard, I would say middle of the range model, and they have other variants as well, such as under their C line that is lighter, even more compact, and a little more cost effective. Although they have also more deluxe variants that have more functionality, including higher top speed, optional handrails, as well as a brushless motor, which is even more quiet. Although all of these models are primarily meant for walking and maybe some light jogging, but you're not going to be running sprints or marathons on this thing. This one has a top speed that is a little under 4 miles per hour. But again, since there is no handrail support, it also makes it a little safer so that you don't fly off the thing if it moves too fast. And I would say that the speed here is already sufficient to get a pretty good workout for most folks. Otherwise, despite the compact folding frame, don't be fooled. It's actually quite a heavy unit. The machine actually weighs around 62 pounds, although luckily no assembly is required, so it is pretty much just ready to go, plug it into power, and you can start using it. It's still not going to be the heaviest load capacity treadmill on the market. This one here is advertised to support weights up to 220 pounds, but some of their other more deluxe versions also have a higher load capacity. So it comes in 2 color variants. We have the gray version, also comes in a slightly newer pink version as well that you can pick between. As for accessories, you just get a quick user guide, as well as a tool that is kind of like a screwdriver. Basically, if the track is misaligned or you find that it's skewing towards one side, either the left or the right, you can tighten the hole either on the left or the right side clockwise to move the track closer to that side. Otherwise, here is the included remote if you're in the manual mode versus the automatic sensing mode, and you can also begin a run just by pressing the middle key, as well as pause the session as well just by tapping there. It does have a safety function, so if you are getting off the treadmill and it detects that there isn't any weight on the treadmill after a few seconds, it will automatically stop as well. You can also adjust the speed up and down manually, as well as a soft silicone lanyard strap. Now, it is worth mentioning that this particular model, again the P1, does not have a LCD display on the top of the treadmill itself. Also, when you're placing the walking pad, it's recommended that you have a hard, flat surface. So if you have a carpet that's a little bit soft, it's not quite as recommended, but as long as the threads of a rug, for example, aren't too long and can accidentally tangle into the mechanism. Now, you'll also notice that on the front there are 2 wheels, so that when you fold it down, you can more easily transport it. This is a polycarbonate frame mostly, but they say that it's reinforced with alloy metals on the inside for the frame to add some more rigidity. Otherwise, we have just the AC plug, which you can remove, detach, and replace if it ever breaks. There's also an indicator light that also dubs as a physical power switch for turning the entire thing on and off. And even if you have this thing flicked on, it doesn't actually start until you tap on the OK key. Here's a look at the profile from the side. So it is indeed very slim as far as treadmills are concerned. It folds out to be 56.5 inches and about 5 inches tall on the highest point. It offers pretty good traction and grip as you are running and jogging. I will point out though that because of these kind of smaller grooves, it does sometimes attract a bit of dust. You can kind of wipe it down with a cloth, and it is normal to have a kind of diagonal in the track. That is where the 2 pieces are joined together and forms that loop. And to fold close and open the treadmill, you don't have to press any buttons. All we need to do is lift it from the end and we are good. So just doing a quick example here, applying a bit of pressure, the track becomes slack, so it doesn't break, of course, when you are actually folding it shut. And now the width is essentially halved, so it becomes a lot more flat with that top surface with the 2 pieces stacked together. After stepping onto the treadmill, we can then turn it on. After 3 beeps, it will begin. There's a small kind of speaker there right now in the manual mode. And this is the overall kind of loudness in terms of volume that it produces, although it still is a little bit of white noise, but not too distracting, I'd say. If you are, say, having a TV show or some music playing in the background, it easily gets drowned out. It also counts the steps and the distance that you've been walking for, and it usually takes about just a split second when you tap on stop for the entire thing to come to a pretty smooth end. And the next time that you sync it over with the companion app, the data in terms of distance will be saved over to your phone's app for you to reference later on, similar to how a fitness tracker or a smartwatch works. Although the display will time out after a few seconds to save on power since it's using batteries inside. The only downside of that is when you first wake it up, it requires a click of any key before you can then press on the button to create the command, whether to increase the speed or actually stop it. So it requires 2 taps. Unless the screen is already turned on, then you only have to press once. Tracks themselves felt pretty comfortable, even though this is a more portable treadmill. I think it's generally wide enough that it didn't feel too restrictive when you're walking on it. The length is going to be a touch shorter than on maybe some full-size gym-based treadmills. Just know that the edges here are rounded, and as a result, it isn't quite as easy to step on the frame. If you want to just very quickly get off the treadmill, you pretty much just step onto the ground instead. Since it is a pretty shallow distance anyways, it's not a huge deal, but it's another small difference compared to more commercial-grade treadmills, which have a maybe larger width on the platform that you can kind of step on. Still, all of the rounded corners I think look pretty sleek and attractive from a design perspective. And now a quick demo of the automatic mode. Basically, as I am stepping here in the middle, you'll see that it keeps the same pace and cadence that I'm at, but if I start to kind of slip a little bit backwards, the speed will start to slow down before eventually stopping. I can also step onto the front section here, and it detects my weight, then in 3 seconds it will begin automatically, again in this kind of AI assisted mode. If my stride continues to hit towards the top of the treadmill, it will also automatically start to speed up. However, you can set a maximum speed yourself in the companion app, so that you don't go flying off the treadmill either, for example. So here's a KingSmith companion app, and once you are having Bluetooth turned on, it will pair with your device. Now here you can also take a look at your longer term exercise data, just like on a fitness tracker. You can see your calories that you've burned, different distances and sessions that you've been on the machine so far, as well as change the time granularity to either year, month, week to see how your trends will compare over time. You can tap on your device to also take a look at a virtual user guide, as well as change what the initial speed startup will be. Right now the slowest is 1.25 miles per hour. You can also take a look at the maximum speed that you can set on the machine. The sensitivity of the auto mode can also be changed from high, medium to low, as well as a child lock function that will not start if, say, a kid is on the machine, just again based on the weight sensor that's on the actual walking pad. A quick belt calibration can also be started, so it will start to kind of run even if no one is on the machine. You can tell then if it's actually slanting towards one side. You can then do that quick calibration with that included tool. We can also tap on go and use our phone as a remote to begin a session, turn the entire thing on and off, as well as switch between automatic as well as manual modes. It'll also show you a quick tutorial of how that sensor again is working. And if we are satisfied, tapping on go there. The Bluetooth connection is relatively reliable. I didn't encounter too much latency compared to the physical remote control. It was about the same, but you do have a larger screen here that will show all the metrics at a glance without having to cycle through because of the more limited size on the remote's display. With that being said, the step counting I would say is a little bit more not as accurate as on a traditional smartwatch or fitness tracker because it doesn't really use a motion sensor to track your steps. It's just approximating that based on the weight as well as how long the belt has been running. But you still have a good idea of kind of duration and a rough idea of calories that you're burning. So that is more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of this WalkingPad P1, one of their more popular models. Fits well into smaller rooms and apartments and helps you get a little bit of cardio in even if you are just taking a break from work, doing some remote work, or don't want to actually go to the gym or run outside if you live in a city that has bad air pollution. You can check out more details if interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the pretty neat WalkingPad P1.